Well, greetings and welcome everyone to our next webinar about Microsoft certification. Who knew that there was certification for Microsoft Office? I remember when I first heard of it, I think back in 2005, and I'm like, what? There's certification for the programs I use every single day? Tell me more. So that's what I'm going to do here today, is tell you all about the certifications available for Microsoft Office for PC. And I know some of you might be Mac users. Currently, there is not a certification for Office for Mac, but I still think this is valuable for you to attend. And because I have my Mac right here, right here. I've been using Mac and PC for the past 25 years, I think, which dates. I started using it when I was 10, by the way. That's a lie. I'm turning 50 this year. I'm excited. All right, let's go ahead and get started. And I'm going to keep my webcam on for just a little bit, and I may turn it off if it's too distracting for me because I'm testing this out. All right, I'm Vickie Sokol Evans, by the way, Microsoft Certified Trainer, and I have over 20-some certifications in Microsoft Office. I'll talk to you guys about that in just a second. So here's the agenda today. So we're going to focus on the benefits of certification, like why it matters, and then the types of certification, what the 5 quickest steps are. So because I have so many certifications, I know the quickest path to pursuing your goals. So this is a great way for you to kind of get there as quickly as possible, and what you need to budget as far as financially and time. And because you have to be disciplined, there is a time investment involved. And then the last thing we'll talk about is, are you ready? So for those of you who don't know me, I have been teaching Microsoft productivity platform for over 20 years. I'm a Microsoft certified trainer. I'm renewing my MCT certification, and I have over 20 certifications. 16 actually are MOS. Actually, you know, I've taken 2 more MOS certifications since I created this slide. And so I have 18 certifications in Microsoft Office. And as I mentioned, I've been teaching on PC and Mac. And here's just what my transcript looks like. This is one of the benefits that you get as a certified professional, is you get a full transcript, a whole history of all the work you've done and put in. Some of those things I've even forgot about. This is also something that you can share with employers or whomever needs to validate your credentials. So it's really cool. And I'm going to ask you guys what your current certification status is. And by the way, I'm going to do a couple of polls today. And you can also post questions in the questions panel for me if you have any questions. What I'm going to do is try to get through the full webinar without looking at the Q&A panel. I'm always tempted to do that because I'm interested in knowing what you're wanting to talk to me about. But I do have someone in the background that's going to be managing all the technical issues and then flagging questions for me to answer at the end. So hopefully, it'll take me about 45 minutes to get through all the content. So let's start with a poll. Let me launch the first poll. Is what is your current MOS status? Your current MOS status. And let me go ahead and launch that. Good. So almost 60%, majority of you are curious. Perfect. You already know. So 60 plus 20, about over 80%, you are curious and you want to get certified, and then 5% already have it. Awesome with the 9%. Those of you curious about certification for yourself and for your team. I would think that, in fact, one of our study group members, she and her colleague are going through the certification, and that helped them remain accountable to each other by pursuing certification together. All right, perfect. That helps me a lot. Let me go ahead and hide that. And let's talk about Microsoft by the numbers, like where we stand and why, some of the benefits and why it's important to get certified. So these are numbers from 2015. I don't have the latest and greatest numbers, but these are the latest numbers that I do have. Is 1.5 billion people use Windows, like a Windows PC, every single day. 1.2 billion use Office. That's 1 in 7 on the planet. 80% of Fortune 500 companies are in the Microsoft cloud, and then 9.2 million subscribe to Office 365 home and businesses. And that number has grown. All of these numbers have grown. all of these programs are simple. They're very easy to use. Really, any technology you put in your hand is simple to use. Like think about a new phone that you get, a new tablet you get. You can pretty much figure things out, and that's what we've done with these programs. But without any training, we're only using 10 to 30% of an application's capabilities, and I think that's true for any technology that we touch. When you're certified in a particular technology, it means that you're aware of 80%. So you know 80% of the technology. You may not use 80%, but you know it's there. So if you have a project or assignment put in front of you, you know you have the tools to achieve that task. And the other statistic I think is really fascinating, always fascinates me, is when we request features for Microsoft to add to the software, 94% of the time, what we want is already in there. So that's pretty significant, but it makes sense. If we're not using 70 to 90% of the technology, it makes sense that 94% of the time what we want to be in the technology is already there. So what I do in all of our classes at Red Cape is to help bridge that gap. So the average user is at 10 to 30%, and you may be at 50%. But without certification, we can't validate what that percentage is until you pursue certification. So that's what we're talking about today, is this certification piece of it. Let's talk about the benefits for a moment. Let's talk about the current marketplace. I want you to think about the people that you work with and collaborate with in your organization, and maybe even outside your organization, maybe in your volunteer work, in your communities. But right now, our marketplace is very global. We have a lot of remote teams all over the world, in different countries, in different cities, different states, provinces, wherever you are. And so it's very global. So what's happening is when there's an open position available, that the market, the talent pool is going to be bigger. So that's increased competition for that one job, that one dream job that you're looking at. The other thing is technology is constantly changing. I can barely keep up. You saw how many certifications I have, and I can barely keep up with what's happening. And my goal is to keep up with it and then distribute it to you guys so that you can keep up with it as well. And because of that, we have a gap in our skills. If we're not constantly upgrading our skills every single year, there's always going to be a gap, and we need to make sure that we have the relevant skills. So that's why, okay, I'm pausing the video. Think about that position on your current team or your organization, business unit. Think about that open position that you have. Now, I want you to put the hiring manager hat on for that specific position. And you're going to be responsible for hiring someone to join that team. Now, you want to think about what skills are needed. I will show you what the top skills are for U.S. occupations. And this is from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But these are the top skills, and you have to identify for that job role that you have on your team, what are those skills that you're looking for that particular person. And if you'll notice that Microsoft Office is the only software package in the top 20 skills for U.S. occupations. And Excel's not on there, but I'm going to circle that one because you definitely need Excel for any data entry. So Excel or database type platform for any data entry work that you might do. So this is pretty significant that these programs are going to be on the top 20 skills, and having that certification is certainly going to help prove and validate your skills compared to anybody else vying for that position. So again, think about you hiring for that role and you needing to differentiate between one candidate or the other, and one candidate has certification, the other one doesn't. With the person that has certification, it makes their resume stand out. I've heard from hiring managers for, let's say, for instance, for an executive assistant position, there might be at least 300 resumes for that one particular position, and not all of them are even going to be relevant. What certification does, it allows you, when you have that certification logo on your resume, it ensures that your resume stays in that stack and even goes to the top of the stack. So it's going to make your resume stand out. It also demonstrates initiative. Once you see what's involved with preparing for certification, you know it takes a lot of discipline, a lot of initiative. It's not easy. It validates, obviously, their skills beyond the proficiency in Microsoft Office. If you notice, a lot of job postings will say proficient in Microsoft Office. What does that mean? Does that mean the 10 to 30%? Is that proficient? Or are we talking about someone that has 80% proficiency? Good to identify kind of what percentage of the programs. And obviously, if you're not certified, you can't tell if you're 10, 20, 50, 70%, or even 80% unless you're certified. So it demonstrates that you have the ability to command the full features and functionality of Microsoft Office. We know over 80% of it. And obviously, with these advanced skills, it's going to help you improve your performance, effectiveness, and productivity. You now not only have the tools available to take on any task or assignment, but you're going to know how to do it quicker, and your deliverables are going to look amazing because you're certified. You, as a hiring manager, or anybody as a hiring manager, is going to be confident in that candidate that they will be able to make immediate contributions upon being hired for that role. So you want someone to start right away. You wanted someone to start a week ago. Now, I want to share with you some of the things that happened to me personally and what's happening to a lot of people who are getting certified, and some of the benefits for yourself and some aha moments. The first thing, it's validation that you know your stuff. You know these programs. It validates your proficiency level. It builds your new skills, because what happens is you're going to discover things you didn't know existed before. So you're going to be adding to your skill set. Your confidence is going to be sky high, and then it'll help you realize your full potential for job promotions, for new assignments, for highly visible assignments. And that's what happened to me when I got my certification. Is all of a sudden I started getting on these more high profile projects. The surprise for me, a couple of things, or several things. Number one, I was shocked that I knew what I knew. When you talk about validating your skill set, I was like, oh, I totally passed this. I thought it was going to be a struggle. Obviously, I'm a trainer, so I've been teaching for over 20 years. I'm going to do really, really well, but I want to do like outstanding. I want to get a perfect score, which is nearly impossible to get a perfect score on these exams for one reason or another. But I was really excited to see and validate that I knew this stuff. And that's what happens to a lot of people. So I'm not saying it just only happens to trainers. It happens to a lot of us. And then I learned more cool features that I didn't know existed. So I was like, oh, I didn't even know that there was goal seek, watch window, and so on in Excel. I started using more and more of these features because I found out about them through my certification prep. And the biggest thing is like, why didn't I do this sooner? I use these programs every single day. Why did I wait so long? And I guess because certification sounds so scary, and it does, and it requires a lot of discipline, and it requires a lot of dedication and persistence and perseverance. But I'm so grateful that I did it, and I don't know why I didn't do it sooner. I want to congratulate Diana. She just achieved her Microsoft Office Master certification. We'll talk about master certification in just a second, but on your LinkedIn profile, as soon as you achieve your first one, you can put MOS. As soon as you achieve expert, you can put MOS expert, and Diana is now a MOS master, so she has MOS M in her LinkedIn profile. And I'll show you some other things that you can add to your LinkedIn profile as a benefit for certification as well. Now, let me talk about my experience yesterday. I was going to a couple of appointments, but then my third appointment was to go take my exam in Excel Expert, which is the hardest exam. And this happened to me on my way. However, I wasn't going to let that deter me or stress me out, because I felt I was ready for the exam, and I did achieve my Excel Expert exam, which is, again, the hardest exam. I'm really proud of that, despite what happened in the morning. And that's I just want to prepare you. The worst things are going to happen to you on exam day. I'm going to show you some of the things that'll help you build your confidence. So no matter what comes your way on exam day, you've got this. So that's my goal. After I passed my exam, I passed my exam at around 4:00 p.m. yesterday, and I received 2 emails from Acclaim, which they award the badges, and then I got an email from Microsoft. Literally within 60 minutes, I got these 2 emails with the congratulations. And what I did was I immediately opened my badge 1, and let me show you what happens really quick. Let me go to the badge version. So one of the benefits is when you go to your Acclaim account, then you will see your badges that you've earned. So these are all my newest badges. And so this is the one I received yesterday. So I'm going to go ahead and click on that one. You can also send this page to any employer so they can see what this, so I can put this badge, this particular link on my resume or an email, just so anyone can verify my credentials. It also shows what skills were being tested and what it takes to earn this badge. So this is, I guess I'm not logged in, but I'm going to go ahead and sign in. So at this point, I'm going to go ahead and click share. From here, it says add to my LinkedIn profile, and I can share it on my news feed in LinkedIn. So I went ahead and shared it on my news feed when I first got this, but now I need to, I was going to go ahead and copy this to my LinkedIn profile, but I wanted to wait to do this with you today. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to uncheck this since I've already shared it to my news feed. What's going to happen is I'm going to say share on LinkedIn, but I'm going to copy each of these pieces of information, and it's going to copy into these fields. So I'm going to go ahead and click copy, and let me go ahead and hit share on LinkedIn. I wish it would just automatically feed to LinkedIn, but the integration isn't there yet. And so it's going to pop up a new certification window. So now I'm going to paste the certification name here. Remember, because I clicked copy. I'll go back to this badge here and certification authority, go ahead and click copy. Go back to here and hit paste. And then certification URL. That's what I need. This is certification does not expire. So these certifications do not expire. Once you get it, you always have it. December 2018, go ahead and click save. And then it shows up on my LinkedIn profile. Accomplishments, here's my certifications. I haven't added all of my certifications here, but I click the drop down, then it shows this one here. Now, this one, the Outlook one, I did not wait to it propagate, so it just looks like I need to click T. There we go. And save that. So now all your certification will be listed on LinkedIn, okay? And then if someone goes see certificate, once they click that link, it will take them to the Acclaim badge, and then they will see this here. They'll be able to validate your certification. Super cool. Definitely another benefit of certification. Let's talk about the types of certification before we talk about the 5 steps to getting certified. So let me ask you this. What version of Office are you currently using at work? I'm going to ask you about Office 365 in just a second, but tell me what version of Office you're using at work right now. Okay, it's good to see that you guys, so almost 60% on 2016 or later. Office for Mac at work. So I'm curious, for those of you that said Office for Mac at work, do you have Office for PC at home? Post your response in the Q&A. If you have Office for PC at home, or you are strictly Mac, 100% Mac at work and PC, at work and school at home. All right, perfect. And then I want to share out the next poll. Okay, so Jessica, you have Mac and PC. I wanted to ask you about Office 365. Do you have Office 365 at work? We're getting it soon, so 62%. Looks like you are on 365 and then 30%. Okay, perfect. All right, just curious. Let's take a look at the different levels of certification. MOS stands for Microsoft Office Specialist, and it means you take one exam. I'll show you what those exams are. And then there's MOS Expert, means you take one of the expert exams. And then there's MOS Master, which means you take 4 exams. And sometimes it's confusing that people think that there are prerequisites to the expert exams, and there are not actually. So let's walk through the different exams that are available for each one of these levels. So for your MOS, let's start with number 1. So the MOS Specialist. All you need is one of these exams to become MOS Specialist. So anything, and by the way, I'm only showing Office 2016 right now I'll show you how you can see what you need for Office 2013 or 2010. If you're on 2007, I do not recommend pursuing certification in that version. I want you to consider taking it in a newer version of this technology. For right now, I just want to show you how this works in Office 2016, which is the latest certification version. So if you want to be a specialist, so let's say right now you go out in January and take the PowerPoint exam, then you are MOS. So you can put that in your LinkedIn profile, MOS. And all you need is one of these exams and you can stop. You don't need anything else and you're considered MOS. You're MOS in PowerPoint. So then you would have one certification listed in your LinkedIn profile with the link to that badge. Let's look at expert. So for expert, you simply need one of these exams. If you love Word, I would pursue Word Expert. If you love Excel, obviously pursue Excel Expert. Let's say that you are an analyst. I'm a former business analyst. So let's say you're an analyst and you're interested in being MOS Expert in Excel. You do not need to take the Excel core exam before taking the Excel Expert exam. You can jump over the core exam and just go straight to expert and just take one exam. Then you would be MOS Expert. You could put that in your LinkedIn profile and it would show in your LinkedIn profile with your badges, it would show one certification, which is Excel Expert. So you would only take the Excel core for your own personal satisfaction and objectives, but you do not need the core in order to pursue the expert exam. So I just wanted to make sure that's clear. And then the next is MOS Master. This is the Mac Daddy. This is the hardest to achieve. It's 4 exams. There's no time requirement for you to take all of these within 1 year or 2 years or 3 years. However, I'm going to talk about Geometrics Prep software. There's a 1-year license to that, and then your certification exam vouchers expire after a year, but you can resolve that issue by just don't purchase your exam vouchers until you're ready for the exam. But all you need is your Word Expert exam, Excel Expert exam, PowerPoint, and then one of these electives, either Access or Outlook. And the reason why Outlook is not required here is because there are some companies that maybe use Lotus or Gmail for their email system, so they don't actually use Outlook. So they might pursue Access instead, and then these 3 exams. So that's how you get MOS Master, and Diana achieved that this week. So just here's a different visual of what's required for MOS Masters, those required exams and elective. And it takes about, my master certification 2010 took me maybe 1 month or 2 months. I took 2 exams on the same day every 2 weeks. So week 1 I studied, week 2 I studied, and after the week 2 I took 2 exams, like maybe PowerPoint and Outlook. And then I studied for the next 2 weeks for these 2 exams, and then within a month I had it. But I was disciplined and focused on getting the certification within 1 month. Diana did hers in 5 months, and I would give yourself a year just because of life. Things happen. But let me walk through this website here. If you're curious about the different levels of certification and the different versions you have, what I want you to do is you're going to go online and you're just going to type in MOS certification. And this is where you want to go, Microsoft.com, learning MOS-certification. Ron, I just saw your question. I just peeked over there. No, there is no PowerPoint expert at this time. Okay, so this right here is your MOS, just MOS specialist. That's it, the first level. And then you can expand these based on your version. So even though it shows 2007 here, when you go to Certiport, which is the certification arm of Microsoft, there isn't an option to take a 2007 exam. So just pretend that's not there. So you would just focus on one of these 3 versions. So when I click on 2016, in order for me to be MOS, I need to take one of these exams. So then I can come over here and look at 731 to see what the requirements are, what the objectives are for this particular exam here. All right, I'm not going to walk through this because you guys can do this on your own because we're on different versions, but I just want to go back and help you navigate this page. Now this is for MOS. If you look over here, there's a link that says expert, and then there's a link that says master. So here is the expert link, and then it's going to be broken down into the different versions, 2016, 2013, 2010, again, ignore 2007. So then you can expand 2016, here's 2013, and then here is 2010 there. So you can expand those, and then I'll go back. And then there will be your master exam. Here's your master level, and this outlines what you need. So you need these 3 exams and then an elective, either Access or Outlook, and then you can expand 2013 and 2010. 2013 is a little bit different. They have tracks. They have an Excel track or a Word track, so you can explore that. So there is the Word track. So you need Word Expert 1 and 2 plus Excel, and then one of these electives. For the Excel track, you need Excel Part 1 and Part 2 experts, regular Word Core, and then an elective from here. Or if you want traditional Office 2013, experts in both Word and Excel, and then that's it. So no matter what, there's just 4 exams required, not just. There are 4 exams always required for MOS Master. Let's talk about the 5 quickest steps. Here are the certification steps. This is what I have identified after going through and studying and passing over 20 certification exams. These are the quickest steps to certification. Number 1, identify your goal. 2, register with Certiport Microsoft. 3 is find a testing center. 4, prepare for your exam. And 5, take the exam. Steps 1 through 3 you can get done today. Honestly, just get it done. Get those done. So then all you're doing is step 4 and 5, and you're cycling through 4 and 5 for every single exam that you take, so up to 4 times. So those are your certification steps. It's very simple until you get down into it and then start studying and start plotting on your calendar when you're going to study and what you're going to study. We already talked about oh, this turned out really bad. The different levels. So what you're going to do is step 1 is decide what version, first of all, what level you want. If you're going to do specialist, expert, and master, this is hideous, by the way, this slide. Decide right now. In fact, why don't you guys post? Do you have a chat window? If you guys can post in to everybody what your certification goal might be, just based on what you've seen so far in the chat window. And Patty's asking, what do I recommend? If you're an assistant, if you're in an administrative role, like operational role, I recommend master certification, hands down, because you're using all of these applications, especially if you're an assistant and even though you may not be delivering PowerPoint presentations, you probably manage presentations for your manager, for your executive, so you probably would want to do that. Specialist in Outlook and PowerPoint, perfect. Master specialist, Outlook, cool. Excel expert, awesome. Denise is asking how much longer does it take? I'll talk about time. Master, good. And I say do this, guys. Focus, go for your master, and I'm going to talk about which exam to take first, but let's say take the easiest exam first. If you take the easiest exam first and decide, you know what, I'm done, that's all I need, who cares? Then that's it. You don't have to worry about anything else. So if you make a commitment to pursue master, there's no one holding you to it other than yourself. So shoot for the stars, and even if you just, reach the moon, which one's higher, stars or moon? Then you'll at least get closer to that goal. And even if you stop, at least you have a certification. And then decide what version. So let me help you decide what version you should pursue, because this is really, really important. You have to identify you already know what you use at work. And if you don't know what you use at work, here's the trick. This is what I want y'all to do now. On your keyboard, and if you guys are at work at home, on your keyboard, you see this little floating Windows key to the left of the space bar. I want you to click on that key, and I want you to type Excel or OneNote. whatever it is. I'm going to type OneNote. So I'm going to hit the Windows key on my screen and type OneNote. And you guys should be able to see what version of OneNote I'm using. I'm using OneNote 2016, so I'm using Microsoft Office 2016. So that's how you find out what version you have at home or at work. Just hit the Windows key and find that out. So that is going to be my first kind of litmus test, is what version do you use at work? So just write that down for yourself. Secondly, what is the latest technology? What's happening in the market? Well, the latest technology is Office 2019. Some of you who have Office 365 may be on one of the released target groups, and you may even have Office 2019. So if 2019 is the latest version, like it just launched September of this year, September 2018, then that's also something to take into consideration. So I would write down, next to the first question you answered, write down Office 2019. And then at home, what version do you use at home? Well, if you have Office 365 for home, you probably have Office 2019. So that's, something to think about. What version do you have at home? And then where are you going to study, at home or at work? So if you are going to study at work and you have Office 2013 at work and you have Office 2016 at home, and you're using my preferred study method, which is Gmetrics Prep software. When you use Gmetrics Prep software, you have to put it on the computer that you're going to pursue certification in. So if you're going to study at work and work has Office 2013, then you have to pursue Office 2013 certification. If you want to pursue Office 2016, then you'll have to study at home because your home computer has Office 2016. I think there's actually a fifth option here, what's available. So Certiport only has Office 2016, 2013, and 2010. Even if you have Office 2019 on your computer, Certiport, we only have the highest level exam is Office 2016. So that would help you decide on what version. Step 2. So number 1, find out what level and what version. So you might say master level in Office 2016. Perfect. You're done with step 1. Step 2 is to register with Certiport and Microsoft. So Certiport is the certification authority, and I just have some facts over here from their website. They deliver over 3 million exams worldwide each year. And this is really important, especially for those of you that are watching from another country, that it's not specific to the United States. So it's Canada, all over Europe, South America, and even in Africa. So 148 countries and 26 languages. There's probably an exam that exists for you if you're not in the United States. They partner with Microsoft to develop these exams, as well as subject matter experts globally. And this is where you're going to have your certification profile. This is where your exam vouchers are going to be, your exam results, and your transcripts. So when you go in to take your exam, you log into your Certiport account. Put that on your to-do list right this minute. Log into Certiport, create a test candidate account, and then what will happen is when you register with Certiport, the next thing it'll say is they take an exam or prepare for an exam. You are not registering to become a proctor, so do not check this option here. You want to check this option and you want to take an exam. Click next, and then this will then take you to the page that will connect you with Microsoft. Because you're taking the Microsoft Office Specialist exam, you then click on this button here that says register with Microsoft. So that's how you register with Microsoft as well, because you need a Microsoft Certified Professional account. And those two things are step 2, okay? All right, and then step 3 is locate a testing center. The testing centers is where you go to take your exam. You have under an hour, I think it's 50 minutes, 50, but let's just say it's 50 minutes. You have 50 minutes to take an exam, and they will probably charge a proctor fee unless you bought the exam voucher through them. I will tell you how much the exam vouchers are through Certiport, so you'll have to kind of look at, wait, why are they charging me $200 if an exam voucher is $96 and a testing center proctor fee is normally $25? Make sure you call the testing center. You're going to use this link on the screen, certiport.com/locator, and you'll locate a testing center now. Do that today or do it this week. The reason why is because if there is no testing center near you, then that might tell you whether or not you can pursue certification. However, I don't want to let that deter you. If you plan on traveling anytime in 2019, if you have friends in a different state or different city or country, plan on visiting them and put that, and then schedule your exam around your visit to your friend or family member's home and see if they have a testing center. So for instance, when I took my exams, I could not find a really good testing center in Austin when I first moved here. I think it was like 2009, 2010. What I did was I knew I was traveling to Dallas. So then I called a Dallas testing center and then found one, scheduled to take 2 exams on one visit, and then I took 2 more on a second visit. So there are all kinds of options. Just be sure you ask them their hours. It can go in after work hours or on the weekends. Some testing centers don't allow that. You want to find a testing center that meets your needs, and just make sure you ask all these questions. I already talked about no testing center in your area. You can always email or call Certiport. So that is step number 3. And then step number 4 is to prepare for your exam. So you have 2 options. For instance, let's say I'm going to sit for my Outlook exam or study for it. I know Outlook like the back of my hand. Rather than go in and study for it and study for it and study for it, what I did is I used Gmetrics and I'll talk about Gmetrics in just a second, and I assessed myself. So I took the exams, the simulated exams, without studying at all, just to give myself a baseline. The first time I did this, I got all above 900 out of 1,000. So your point values, your goal is to get at least 700 out of 1,000 points. And when I assessed myself using Gmetrics and these 5 different Outlook exams, I was over 900 points on every single one of them. So I was already ready to go pursue that certification exam or take that certification exam. So I didn't need to prep. If you know this stuff, then you could just assess yourself and then prep if you need to and keep circling back. If you know you need to study, so for instance, my Excel expert exam, I knew that I wanted to study first before I took the simulated exams. I went ahead and studied and prepped using Gmetrics prep software, and then took the simulated exams in a timed scenario. And then I kept circling back until I was satisfied with my prep scores. And then until I felt confident it was time for me to go take the exam, flat tire and all. So those are the 2 methods. I think the second method is what you're going to encounter most often. I use Gmetrics prep software. I've used books before. I've used Gmetrics. To me, Gmetrics prepares me perfectly for the exams, for me to pass the exams. Some people have some technical difficulties with Gmetrics, especially loading it on their work computer. So there are some people that aren't fans of it because of the technical issues, but they have a great support center and they can help you with whatever you're dealing with technically. But I liked it because it really prepared me and simulated the exam so I knew what to expect. A book couldn't do that. So let me talk about how this works. So when you have Gmetrics, you have the option. So I'll go ahead and when I click on new test here, you're going to see 27 tests that are available to you across the 3 versions. So you have your Office 2016 at the top, and you can see the exams for Office 2016. And then you have Office 2013 in the middle, so all the exams associated with Office 2013, and then Office 2010. Let's say now I'm going to be preparing for PowerPoint. I would click on PowerPoint for 2016, and then it's going to ask me, do I want to put it in training mode or testing mode? So remember I talked about prep and then assess. Prep is going to be your training mode, and assess is going to be your testing mode. So I know that I'm not ready for PowerPoint, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in training mode and click OK, and then it allows me, it simulates the exam just like the testing mode does, but the difference is that it allows me to click the little light bulb, and it will give me the step-by-step instructions. So I'll try to do it on my own, But if I can't get it or just want to check my response right away, I can go ahead and click on the light bulb. So that is the training mode, and that's what you use to prep. So that is Gmetrics. Or you can, what I did is I also purchased these books because I wanted the best score possible. So anytime I just wanted a little extra training, because there's no one training me, I went and looked at these books here. And let me see if I can turn on my webcam again so you can see the books. So here are all the books right there that I used. These are great books. They cost about $25 each. What they're doing is they're going over all of the objectives, and they give you some samples and some exercises in there, but it doesn't simulate the exam like Gmetrics does. So I think it's a great complement to Gmetrics. Jill's asking, could you select 2016 exams and then also do OneNote in 2013? Yeah. You wouldn't, if you want to do OneNote, it wouldn't count towards your master certification, but certainly if you just wanted to, get certified in OneNote, you can certainly do that. They don't do OneNote certifications anymore, and I'm not sure why. Okay, so step 5 is take the exam. So here's the process for taking your exam. You first need to purchase your exam vouchers. Do not purchase your exam vouchers until you are ready to take the exam. You want to purchase them at least 2 days before you take the exam. The reason is because it expires after a year. So if, let's say, you decide, I'm going for my certifications in 2019, I'm going to be master certified by this time next year, and you decide, okay, in January I'm going to take Outlook, February I'm going to take PowerPoint, and you have all these awesome goals, and you purchase the exam vouchers. If something happens, if there's a crisis in your family or at work and something happens that derails your schedule, then you are going to be stuck with these vouchers. You can give them to somebody else. Well, you can't if you assign it to yourself. I'm not going to say that. Okay. Just don't purchase your vouchers until you're ready to purchase the exam. It gets complicated when you purchase them before you're ready. The next thing is to schedule your exams. For instance, I want to get my PowerPoint done. What I'll do is I'll purchase my exam vouchers when I know, like, okay, next week I'm going to go ahead and sit for my PowerPoint exam. I'll purchase my exam vouchers, and then I'll call the testing center to schedule my exam. And then the next step would be to take the exam. You'll know right away when you take your exam if you passed, which is great. There is a retake option. I'll talk about retake in just a second, but if you do the voucher with retake option, you get 30 days to retake that exam. And then congratulations, you did it. This is the certificate you get from Microsoft, and Satya Nadella, the CEO of Microsoft, signs it, and you get your badge and you get your LinkedIn stuff. So that's what you get. And let's talk about what to budget. Gmetrics prep software, we sell it. So Red Cape sells it. You can purchase one exam. You saw all of those exams, remember, for each of the versions. So for 2016, there were 7 exams. For 2013, I think there were 10 exams, however many there were. So there are all of these exams available. So $35 for one exam, or for $75, you get all of the exams. For instance, Jill was asking about, hey, can I take OneNote 2013? Yeah. So if you want to be master in 2016 and then take your OneNote 2013 exam, you definitely want to do the $75 version of Gmetrics. I don't even sell this version, the $35 version. Books. So the books were anywhere from $25 to $50 each. I think mine were all under $25 is what they were. Certification exams. This is really important. These are all in US dollars, by the way. Your certification vouchers, I'm going to put certification vouchers. I'm going to do exam voucher. Your exam vouchers are going to be $96 just to take an exam through Certiport, and you could just purchase them through Certiport. Or with the retake option, it's just like $20 more, less than $20 more. So what I did was I did the retake option for my expert exams. If you are new to this or worried about it, I would do the retake option for all 4 exams. And then the proctor fee is going to be, mine is $25 at my testing center. You shouldn't pay more than $30 for a proctor fee. And again, some of them are waived depending on where you purchase your exam voucher. But one of my members of my study group said that they purchased an exam voucher for $174. So I don't know why it would be $174. Doesn't add up. They bought the voucher and it included a proctor fee, but even with the retake option, that would be $145 max. So for those of you that want to study with me, let's do this together. I've got 2 more certifications, but I'm still helping people out. It's an individual membership to our private Facebook group. I will be there every step of the way to help you with your certification. It never expires. So Diana, who just attained her master certification, she'll always be part of that. I will give you an action plan so you can track your progress. And I'm going to hold your hand the whole way because I'm going to send you emails and do regular check-ins with you. We did an online meetup last week, just check in with everybody to see where everybody was. And I will send you an email and I'll say, do these steps. And then tell me when you've done these steps, and I'll send you a second email like, here, do these steps. And so I will walk you through the process to get you there. And then I'll send you also video tutorials in the study group. Diana was having issues with a certain feature in Excel Expert, so I put together a video tutorial for her, which improved her score when she did the retake option. So here's what I would budget for your master. This is for master certification. So if you're going to something a lower level, then obviously it wouldn't be this much. Your fixed cost would be your Geometrics prep software through us, which would be $75. Private study group $150. Account would be $225. That's your fixed cost. Your variable cost. So if you decide to purchase your books and you're going for master certification, you would do 4 books at $25 each, would be $100 US. If you did what I did, which is only purchase the exam voucher with retake on the harder exams, the expert exams, then you would just take a regular exam voucher, 2 at $100. That's at $96. And then 2 exam vouchers with retake is $120 times 2. And then your proctor fee, you're taking 4 exams total. Mine was $25, so this adds up to $640. $640 plus $225 is your, it's almost $900. For those of you that have a training budget, professional development budget, if you haven't used it, now this is a good time to spend it. But you don't have to have all of this money right now, this budget, in order to start. Because remember, I told you do not buy these exam vouchers. Don't do these 3 at all until you are ready to take that first test. Then buy the first one. Okay? Then what you're going to do is you'd actually purchase the Geometrics and the study group in January. Then when you're ready, when you're ready to take your first exam, so let's say in month 2, you're going to take your first exam, that's when you purchase the voucher and proctor fee. 3rd month, exam and proctor fee. 4th month, exam and proctor fee. 5th month, exam and proctor fee, depending how you're spreading this out. So that's why I mean you don't need that full budget right away, because I don't want you to purchase those exam vouchers right away. I'm not going to read this slide. I'm just going to post it on here so that when you're watching the replay, you can pause right now to read this, to look at your other ROI for pursuing certification. I need to move over to this piece here because some of you may not know how to ask for budget. What you're seeing on the screen are value drivers for decision makers. This is what keeps your manager up at night. They have business objectives to implement and achieve these aspects of the business. And the way certification rolls up to these value drivers is this. So the ROI of a certified team impacts the bottom line in these particular ways. So if you're looking for the words to help pitch the idea at work, for work to pay for your certification, this is what you need to use. Now, if your company right now has initiatives like we're trying to improve morale, then getting your team certified and actually investing in their certification will definitely improve morale. Not only will it improve morale, it's going to help improve productivity, business processes, level of service, information that's flowing back and forth because it's more accurate. Because of the improved technical skills, image and reputation, because the deliverables are going to look more professional, skills and quality of work. Reduced costs, and by that I mean I know of companies where their managers actually sending out their PowerPoint to an external consultant or vendor to put their PowerPoint together, when all they need to do is just ask a member of their team, maybe a certified member of their team, to do it. So it would reduce costs in that way. Obviously, time and effort to perform a task, reduce complaints because there's no errors, risk for errors and paperwork, and so on. So you can use some of these words if you need help pitching the idea. So that's it for me. All right, let me go to Q&A. Let's see what we got here. So let me prioritize. Ooh, lots of questions. Good. Diane. Diane's already left, but I do want to answer her question. Do you have to recertify your MOS each year like you do with the CAP, Certified Administrative Professional certification? You do not need to recertify your MOS each year. So like I said, I've got 16, 20 certifications. I lost count. So my earliest certifications were in Office 2003, but obviously I didn't want to stay there at 2003. We're at my next one, I think, was 2007 certification. So no, I would probably skip every other version. So my last one was Office 2010, and then I skipped 2013, and now I'm doing 2016. So you do not need to recertify. All right, Genevieve, I want to get master certification. I already have every 2013 certification and Word, Excel, PowerPoint 2016 certification. Do I need Access and Outlook if I'm getting master? Let me go to that slide. Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Okay. So Genevieve has all her certifications, all the master level certifications she needs for Microsoft Office 2013. She now wants to get Master 2016. So because you want to get Master 2016, none of these exams qualify for the Office 2016 Master. You have to start over. But the good news is you're already certified in these, so it won't be as big of a hill for you. She has Word, Excel, and PowerPoint in 2016. So you have these three. In order to get Master certified in 2016, you need this one, PowerPoint, Word Expert, and Excel Expert. So I can't tell, Genevieve, if you have, when you said you have Word and Excel, if it's core. If it's core, they do not qualify for master. That's why I want you guys to pursue the quickest way is start with your easiest, either Outlook or PowerPoint, and then pursue Word and Expert last. And then don't waste time on these exams because you don't need them. But it doesn't hurt to have them. To me, it benefits. Can you go for master and pass one or maybe none of the others? Can you at least come out with an expert? Yeah, Debbie, if you're shooting for the stars, so let's say, let me go back to a different slide. If you're going for your master certification and you don't pursue it, then you're whatever your last certification was, your highest level certification will be your highest designation. So let's say that you went and you took, like, so for instance, for me, I took Outlook first, which is the easiest in my opinion, and then I took the hardest next because somebody in our study group was also taking it and I wanted to support her. And so I took that at the same, after Outlook. I wouldn't normally do that. I would usually do Outlook, PowerPoint, Word, and then Excel Expert. So for me, I took Outlook and Excel Expert. So right now, if I stopped, I would be right here. So my highest level would be Expert. I'm MOS Expert in Excel, but I also have a MOS in Outlook. Cherry, what level do you recommend if we utilize one application like Outlook and rarely use the other applications like Excel? So if you only use one of these, so if the only thing you use is Outlook, then just pursue this, Outlook 2016. That's it. That's all you need. Don't go overboard. Don't put any extra pressure on your plate or any more work on your plate at all. We have way too much to think about. If this is the only program you use, I think it's going to be a really uphill battle. It needs to be something that you use frequently or that you just need to have the skills in. So only pursue it if you're like, oh, I really want to master Excel. I really want to master Word and PowerPoint. Then pursue that. But you have to have that determination and those set of goals. Patricia, I'm being downsized. Oh, okay. I'm being downsized. I'm sorry to hear that. I will finally have time to study in January. How many hours a day will be beneficial without going into overload? So I'm glad you asked that because I did promise I was going to share with you guys the time investment. let me look at this. So for each of these exams here, remember that it is 50 minutes when you take an exam. So let me get back to geometrics here. I want to take Outlook and then Word Expert, Excel Expert, and PowerPoint. For each of these in geometrics, for each of these exams in testing mode, remember tests are 50 minutes. And each one of these have about 5 exams each. So I'm just going to say an hour, 1 hour. Okay, so that would be 5 hours per exam. So every time I study for an exam, like for Excel Expert, it's going to take me 5 hours to get through the simulated tests so I can see if I'm ready for the actual exam. When I prep for it in training mode, it takes me double time. So 2 hours for the 5. So plus 10 hours. So that's 15 hours of prep and study time just once through. So I would say it's going to take you around 20, let's just say 20 to 30, 20 hours. Let's say 25. Budget 25 hours of prep per exam. I'm sticking with that. 25 hours, right? How many hours a day? So I would then break it up. Patricia, if you literally have nothing else to do but study for exam, then maybe do 5 hours a day, but then break it up, sit down for a couple of hours. I can easily sit down for 2 hours and study. I've done that, but I'm a nerd. So Patricia, of study guides, I would, for those books, I would definitely get those books. You can go to Amazon or Microsoft Press for those MOS study guides. Ron, are you wanting to be a certified testing center? What I was going to tell you guys too, if there isn't, let me put my webcam on so you can see me, so I can talk to you. Okay, so hopefully Ron will, all right, can y'all see me? Yeah. All right, so if you guys can't find a testing center near you, and there are people within your organization, let's say there's 50 of you that want to get certified at your company, you can become a testing center. So you just go to Certiport, and I believe I'm a testing center, but I don't really have a physical location to proctor exams. So you can actually become a testing center in Certiport if you go to certiport.com and find out what it takes to be a testing center. Rana, I don't know if you're asking as a hypothetical or what, but I became a testing center. It wasn't that difficult. So I asked because there are no testing centers in my province and state. I may have to encourage training company to go for it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, reach out to me, Ron, if you have any issues with that. But if I would suggest some of the schools and libraries, anything with a computer lab, they may have the ability to become a testing center. The requirement would be that there needs to be a proctor available, and sometimes a proctor available in the evenings because sometimes people need that. Amber's asking, what is the percent pass rate for each exam? As long as you get 50% of the questions right, you pass. No, typically there are 4 main objectives on an exam, and when you go to MOS certification page, each of these certification, let's go look at Excel. There's going to be percentage of, yeah, here we go. There are typically about 4 main domains or objectives, 4 domains, and then each of those domains has a range of percentage weight based on the questions, but there are typically around 30 questions in a 50-minute period that you have to answer. Yesterday when I took the Excel Expert exam, I only had 2 minutes left, which was strange because I knew a lot of the questions, but I would skip them. In our study group, we talk about exam days, strategies, and what it's like. We can never share what's on the exam, but I give you exam taking tips, so help you better make use of your time when you're sitting for the exam. Philip, you don't use Facebook? Yeah, we have some people that don't use Facebook, but what they did was they created just a random profile, and so that random profile, they just use that basic shell of a profile on Facebook to join the study group. Amber, do you have to buy the books, or can you just sign up for the private study group and get everything you need? The study group is separate. So the study group does not include geometrics and the books. So the study group, you can call me, and if you're scared about an exam, it's just allowing you more access to me and me more access to you, and I'm helping you and holding your hand along the way. And then highly recommend geometrics to prep. Okay, this presentation was so helpful. Can we get a copy of it after this webinar? Yes, you'll get a replay of this. It'll be available on redcapeco.com/moss. So after today, you'll be able to sign up to get the replay if you want. Okay, I think that's it. That's it, everybody. Hopefully I answered everyone's questions. That concludes today's session. I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for your time, and good luck. I look forward to seeing all the certification badges on these LinkedIn profiles soon. We'll see you soon. Bye.